Okay, so if you're catching this live show later on our YouTube, I would like to introduce Luke Hart, who graduated in 2017. He is currently working as an assurance associate. That's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, a little alliteration.
For PricewaterhouseCoopers, and he's going to talk a little bit today about his career and give you all some wonderful advice. And I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, all right. Hey, everybody. Yep, my name's Luke Hart. Graduated from Center in 2017. I'm originally from Hickory, North Carolina. Just ended up going to Center, looking at some smaller schools, and ended up playing soccer at Center. That was part of the reason I chose to go to Center. Had a great 4 years at Center, majored in economics and finance. And then after Center, I went to Vanderbilt and did a 1-year Master's of Accounting program there at Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has like a pretty good kind of funnel program for Center students, and they offer scholarships to Center students. So it definitely is a pathway that is very available to Center students. And there's been a pretty good pipeline of Center students going to Vanderbilt for the Master's of Accounting program in the last few years. So definitely an option for any of you. And it also makes sense because Center obviously doesn't have an accounting major. So in order to kind of get that more technical accounting experience that you need to go into the accounting firm and, work for a big four accounting firm, stuff like that, it does make sense to go get a 1-year master's. And lots of schools offer that, obviously, but I chose to go to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was really good. And then after Vanderbilt, I studied for the CPA, passed all the CPA exams, and then took a job with PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. Now I work in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I've been working for PwC for just over 2 years. So let's see, that's kind of the background of me. And I can try to give you a little bit of background of PwC and kind of the accounting world. I don't know what exactly you guys would be interested in, but I guess I'll just go see where the wind takes me. So PwC is a multinational professional service firm, and mostly the service that we're selling is accounting services. So we kind of have 3 main services we're providing, they're all like related to accounting. So it's just, we're selling the knowledge of our people essentially. So we have an advisory line where we're kind of advising companies on maybe new technical accounting guidance, or how they should be valuing their goodwill or something like that. We have audit or assurance, which is what I work in, where essentially a public company is disclosing their financial statements. They bring in an external auditor like PwC, and we audit their financial statements. And then we also have a tax line. When I say I'm an accountant, pretty much everyone assumes I just do taxes, but it's really not the case, actually. I am pretty lost when I do my taxes myself. I use TurboTax, so I'm no tax expert, although I guess I have passed the CPA exam on taxes. So I know some about taxes, but I really don't do much taxes on a day-to-day basis in my job. So PwC, really big company, one of the big 4 accounting firms, which I think is a great place to start your career. PwC operates in 174 countries, and we have over 250,000 people working for PwC. So PwC is just a really good brand. So coming from Center, which is kind of a smaller school, in North Carolina, it might not be so well known. Having PwC, the brand, on my resume, I think has been really beneficial for me. And you also just get really good exposure because PwC works with really large companies, mostly public companies. some private companies as well, but definitely larger companies. So the two main clients that I work on are Snyder's Lance, which is part of the broader like Campbell Soup Company. But like the soup company, they make pretzels, Cape Cod potato chips, stuff like that. And then my other main job is Train Technologies, which is an HVAC manufacturer. You might know the brand like Train. Nothing stops a train. But yeah, so one of the big benefits of working for a Big Four accounting firm and PwC is that you do get exposure to some of these really large companies and get to work on those types of jobs and get exposure to companies that are traded, publicly, have to report public financial statements, have to have Big Four audit. So yeah, like I said, I think it's a really good place to start your career. There's lots of exposure. And also I think that PwC has a really good kind of culture. It's a really young company. The kind of firm structure is set up so that PwC does hire a lot of young people straight out of college or straight out of a one-year master's program every year. And there are always more young people kind of at the bottom of the totem pole working than there are older people that are kind of above them. So there will be a lot of kind of associates around my level, and then seniors above that level, and managers above that level, and then partners are kind of at the top of the totem pole in an accounting firm structure. But one of the benefits of that is that a lot of my colleagues are my age. Now that I've been here for like 2 and change years, there are even a handful of people that are younger than me. And then even the people above me, a lot of them are still in their 20s or early 30s. So that I think is beneficial and something you don't really find in a lot of places in the working world. Like most companies, the average age is not going to be in their 20s. And at PwC, most of my colleagues are in their 20s. So it does just allow, I think it's just a better culture to get to, and it kind of also just fosters a culture of coworkers being a little bit more friendly, hanging out outside of work, just because they may have more in common and be in similar stages in their life. What else? Yeah, PwC also has just really good training. Their training programs are like really respected in the world of accounting, and also public companies typically do really like the resume of a Big Four accountant. So it is, I think, a really good springboard to kind of start your career. Just because of the brand of PwC, and companies know that working for a Big Four accounting firm, there is good training. You do work hard. You're typically a good candidate, and everybody needs an accountant as well. So there is pretty good job security in accounting, which is good. What else? Yeah, like since I've started working at PwC, my LinkedIn has definitely like started getting more hits. Not that that like really matters, but it just does kind of go to show that the brand of PwC does like add value and perk the eyes of recruiters or companies. And yeah, particularly coming from Center, that is just kind of a smaller brand, I've found the PwC brand to be like really beneficial on my resume. One of the big concerns of working in the accounting world is that accountants like work really hard. Tax season is really tough. Like I said, I don't actually work in tax, so we have an accounting busy season, which is kind of January and February, where we do work a lot of hours. So, I mean, there definitely are some upsides to accounting and some downsides as well. And one of the downsides is you do work pretty hard throughout the year, and then also during busy season, you do work like nonstop, even on the weekends, and sometimes late into the night. But that's just kind of something you'll find, I think, in a lot of places in the working world, is that there are going to be good times and bad times where you really don't get to do much outside of work. But one good thing about PwC is they have really been pushing flexibility and encouraging people to, take some time out of the day to do something you want to be doing. So like for me, I love playing soccer. So on Thursdays, I always try to take some time off work and go play in my Thursday night soccer league. And they're really encouraging and supportive of, if you have something you want to do, go do it. You don't need to be working every waking second. So they do kind of want to encourage people to like be healthy, stay happy, stuff like that. I'm trying to think of other good questions that students, if they were on the line, they would be asking me.
I have a question that they might want to know.
Perfect.
Yeah, just kind of thinking of PwC in general. Do they have like a hiring season that you guys have, or do you just kind of hire throughout the year and you have plenty of opportunities to apply for?
Yeah, great question. PwC does have a bit of a hiring season. So the biggest start class typically starts in like September, October area. So like when I started, we brought in, at the Charlotte office, we brought in maybe like 30 people in September, and I started like September 6th, and then probably another 20 people in October. But then there also is kind of random hiring throughout the year. Sometimes people will start in January, right before busy season. So January and February is a busy time. And then, but there's also hiring, I think, throughout the year. It does kind of come in waves, and you have like different start classes. And then another thing is, for a center student, it would probably be tough to get a job at PwC right out of college, because they typically look for, pretty much the requirements to start at PwC are, you need to, so it's tough to come out from center because there's not even an accounting major, right? So they would either be looking for someone that was an accounting major and that is pursuing their CPA, or you can really quickly and easily, if you just do like a 1-year master's of accounting program, you're easily on their radar and like qualified to start at PwC. But then the other thing is, you just need to be pursuing your CPA. So potentially you could graduate from center with a random degree and then start studying for the CPA, which is a really tough exam. But if you started studying for that and like we're making progress on that, that's kind of one of the requirements of someone who's pursuing their CPA. But PwC, they kind of like, they want kind of more evidence that you're pursuing your CPA than just you saying you're pursuing your CPA. So if you're in like a master's of accounting program, they're going to know you're like a pretty good candidate to get your CPA. So those are kind of like the baseline requirements, but it is tough to get a job right out of center. You kind of do need to get the master's of accounting program out of center. And then, another thing is a lot of people who start at Big Four accounting firms do an internship before. So I did an internship in January while I was at Vanderbilt. They have a little break for you to do an internship. So an internship in January and then started full-time in September. So that's a pathway that people do pretty often. But in terms of applying and getting on someone's radar, typically it's easiest to get in contact with the Big Four firms like through your school. So like Vanderbilt has really good connections with all the Big Four accounting firms. We recruit with all 4 of the Big Four accounting firms. So it's pretty easy to kind of get your foot in the door there. But you can also, like if you just go online and apply, you could just go online, PwC's website, and apply for an internship. And hopefully you could get in contact with a recruiter, say what city you want to work in, and kind of start the conversation there, and put your application in, say that you're pursuing your CPA, kind of break down your plan of how you want to make this work, essentially. And PwC hires a ton of young people every year. They are hiring like throughout the year. And even through the pandemic, which has obviously affected a lot of companies, PwC has, like, we just had a new wave of new hires start in September. So
Awesome.
we're still hiring like throughout this, which is really good because everyone still does need an accountant. So, I mean, I would definitely throw your name in the hat if this is something you're interested in, and reach out to a recruiter. You can reach out to me if you want some more information as well. I'm happy to like try to help out. I've helped out actually like one or two other center grads that are looking into the accounting field. My little brother actually is at Vanderbilt doing a master's of accounting there now.
Cool.
So,
and did he go to center?
He did.
Good.
Yeah, so like there definitely is a pathway into Big Four accounting or working at PwC. But the easiest way is to just go get a 1-year master's of accounting. If you do that, it's like you're in pretty much.
Yeah.
But coming straight out of center, it is a little bit more difficult. But yeah.
Cool. So I have one more question, or I guess there's like two parts to it, and I think the students might want to know it too. What do you like best about being an accountant, and what do you like the least about being an accountant?
Yeah.
It might be a hard question. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a good question.
Yeah.
What do I like best and least? I'm trying to think about what I like best, because like accounting is kind of boring, don't get me wrong, but I also have kind of started to believe that every job's pretty boring, just because there's kind of the monotony of going through your emails, being on video calls, doing random analysis of random stuff. Like, I feel like ultimately everyone is just given tasks, and then it's just trying to find the best way to complete those tasks, and trying to find like efficiencies. So I do find joy in like improving processes, taking something that was done last year and making it better. But yeah, I mean, accounting isn't that interesting, I wouldn't say. But I think that you'll find that in like a lot of jobs. So particularly if you're doing something every day, like it's not going to be that interesting. But I think maybe a misconception about accounting is that it's like a pretty lonely job and you're just staring at numbers all day and like typing on a calculator and doing stuff like that, which I pretty much never use a calculator. Obviously, I just use like Excel most of my day. But I also do a lot of writing and talking with people, because particularly in audit, it's more about like documenting what you found and like explaining that. So definitely like soft skills are important. And then also there is a lot more collaboration in accounting and auditing than you would think. So that's something I really like about it. Audit is like 100% a team sport. So we have an audit team of, it depends on the size of your job, but anywhere from like 4 to 40 people. And getting to like work with people and try to solve problems, and also a lot of people at PwC are smarter than me, so that's really good. But I really like that kind of team aspect of the job, and I do actually spend a lot of time talking to my team, developing approach of how we're going to test something, or reviewing how testing went, answering questions, trying to understand the processes better. So those are some of the kind of broad things to think about of what you might like or dislike about accounting. But then also PwC specifically, I do really like kind of the younger culture that it has. There is like a big push for flexibility. So I'm working from home right now. I have been throughout the whole pandemic, but you can also work from home outside of the pandemic world, which is really nice. My teams are really supportive of me. Like if I want to take a Friday off, or, if I need to get my car fixed on a Tuesday at 1:00. But there are definitely some downtimes. You do work really hard at times. Busy season is tough. You don't get flexibility like all day, every day. And you have to like deliver when the client needs something or when your team needs something. And it also just depends on your team. Like I have a really good team, and it's possible that you get stuck on a client or on a team that is less good and like less supportive of
Yeah.
your kind of like flexibility,
Mhm.
or they're really busy, or say you're like the job you're working on, they're going through a merger and a spinoff, and then suddenly you're really busy. So you can definitely kind of get unlucky and get to a point where you're just working too much to really enjoy some of the benefits
Mhm.
of working at PwC or working in accounting. So there's some trade-offs. But overall, like, I mean, am I super passionate about like getting the numbers right in accounting? Probably not. But there are like, it's a good paying job. There's like
Mhm.
really quick career progression, which is great. Everybody needs an accountant. It's a good brand. You can like really easily and quickly move up the ladder.
Mhm.
There's like a lot of job security. So
Good.
there are definitely some perks to the job as well.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, great. Well, it looks like we're coming up right on time. So if you have any last minute thoughts, you can go ahead and say those or.
Yeah, nothing really for me, but yeah, definitely
Okay.
reach out
Okay.
if anybody has any like questions or wants to follow up.
Great.
My email is luketrapierhart@gmail.com.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys are like sending out this info, but it's LUKETRAPIERHART @gmail.
Well,
Like happy to
I
help
think we
out
have
for
it. So
sure.
if students are asked
Okay,
it, we'll pass
great,
it on to them. So,
great,
well, thanks so much, Luke. I really appreciate it. That was really great advice.
awesome. Yeah, glad
All
I could
right.
help. Happy
Great.
to.
Thanks.
All
Well,
right.
happy holidays and I hope you have a good day today.
Yeah, happy holidays. See ya.
Bye.